Hello everyone, welcome to a new GraphQL video. This time we have quite a huge topic to discuss, that's why I will split it into several videos. And today we will cover built-in schema types and query parameters. As usually, I will start with copying the previous lesson and creating a new folder. Let's enter the folder and install necessary packages, UUID for creating unique identifiers, types for it, and camel case to convert dashed object keys into camel case. Now let's create a slightly more complex model that we previously had. I'll copy hello module and rename it to heroes. Also, I'll do fast refactoring for the files inside. And I will change the ID of the module to heroes module. Also, I need to re-export new module from the modules folder. Each new module should be registered in a schema. Don't forget to make appropriate import. Now as we are done with refactoring, let's go inside new heroes module and add a file to mock some possible response from third-party API. I will create response constant here and paste in ready-to-use response describing some fancy features of Batman and Catwoman superheroes. And also I'll need very simple getter and setter methods here to be able to manipulate this response as a singleton. At the moment, let's leave this response without appropriate typing. We will do it a bit later, making use of automatic types generation from schema. Now let's get down to creating appropriate schema. I will extend basic query type as it's forbidden to have several definitions for query and mutation. Such hero query will have one optional parameter name that should be a string. As a response, we will have a mandatory array of heroes that should not be empty. Exclamation mark makes any type mandatory. Each hero should have a mandatory ID property that is a separate type in GraphQL. Also name and base statistics property that is of union type. Union means that there could be two different sets of properties inside. Our union can be represented by two different types, power statistic type or endurance statistic type. Both power stats and endurance stats should have several properties in common. I will implement them via interface with intelligence and strength props. Both of them are integers. GraphQL doesn't have separate number type but integers and floats. Now it's time to declare PowerStats object type that implements the interface. I'll add mandatory fields from interface as well as some unique fields from the response. They are power integer and combat integer. Let's do the same thing with endurance stats type. It implements the interface, so it should have the same mandatory fields as stats. I will copy them and paste into this tab and add additional fields corresponding to the response, its speed float type and durability integer type. Let's create several more properties according to the response. In the original response, there should be biography object. Let's create biography object type. There should be full name and place of birth properties inside. Both of them are strings and not mandatory. No exclamation mark afterwards means that they are optional. Pay attention that in the original response we have dashed object keys, but GraphQL forbids dashes and single quotes in schema, so in schema I added them in camel case. The last property should be appearance. This tab will consist of two keys. First one will be gender of gender type, and the second one will be race of the appropriate type. I will create gender type as a num, which means that there is a choice of fixed values inside. For gender, it will be male and female. Race will be also a num and consist of two options, human and animal. Now let's start up this server and generate appropriate module types for TypeScript. Don't pay attention to the errors right now, we haven't fixed Resolver yet. Now I can add necessary types to the response file. Here I will create a response hero type. It should look exactly the same as hero in the schema, except those properties that were dashed, and in schema they are camel cased. So I will omit biography property in the hero type and add a custom typing with dashes for it. It consists of full name that should be a string and place of birth. It's also a string. Then it comes out that the response itself should be an array of response heroes. And also I will add typing to the hero parameter in addHero function. The only thing that is left is to fix the resolver. The types are already in place. Let's change the query that should be resolved to such hero. Each resolver receives parent object and arguments object as parameters. In order to return the heroes, I'll make use of created getHero function. Remember that it's necessary to convert biography object to camel case. I will use array mapping for that, and camel case package to transform biography if it exists. If hero object has biography, then camel case the biography and destructure it as an object, otherwise destructure an empty object. Now let's filter the array by superhero name. Callback function should return true either if hero name equals to past name or if there was no name passed. Now let's check graphical. GraphQL complains here that it could not determine what exactly was passed as base stat, if it was a power stat or an endurance stat. To fix that, I will add a child resolver for power stat. Here I will define isType of method that will help GraphQL to detect if it's a power stat type that was resolved inside. Exactly the same thing I will do to resolve the endurance stat. To tell for sure that it was an endurance object resolved, I can check, for example, for intelligence property. Let's go back to graphical. Not updated yet. And here it is a correct response with Batman and Catwoman. Now let's filter the response by name and search by Catwoman, for example. Everything is correct. And that is it for today. Stay tuned to learn more about mutation the next time.